Hey everyone, this is Josh Whitkirk here with you once again. Now it's time for episode 80 of Album of the Day, in which today's artist is a singer-songwriter and guitarist who, originally lived in Miami, Florida, but I think he's moved to maybe North Carolina or South Carolina or something like that, but his real name is Sam Beam, but his stage name in the music industry is Iron and Wine. He's been putting out records since 2002, and, he's put out some records and he's put out a couple of records that are, really good, beautiful, acoustic records, those being the pretty lo-fi and stripped down The Creek Drank the Cradle, and the, gorgeous and slightly darker lyrically album, and different a little bit musically record, Our Endless Numbered Days. Probably my favorite record of his. But now I'm here to review his third album on Sub Pop, released in September of 2007. One that I've owned for a pretty long time, and pretty much my first exposure to him. The album is called The Shepherd's Dog, and love the artwork on here. It's a really nice painting that's on here of a dog, which it actually kind of fits in with the album a little bit. And the title. And that back cover looks to me like a painting of Sam Beam a little bit. This is basically just some paint remains here. There's the CD. And the insert in here is pretty cool as well. Let me show it to you. It's like a giant poster of the artwork on this album. And of course it's got the lyrics in here. And of course the liner notes. And I've actually owned this CD since 2008, but didn't really start consistently listening to it until the fall of 2013, when I really started to get into it. Because, initially I wasn't too keen on it, because I actually had kind of different music taste at the time, but now indie's pretty much the building blocks of what my background comes from, so now I think it's a really great album. So that's my CD copy of the album. Don't have the vinyl. I'm typically buying more CDs just because I'm not consistently listening to vinyl on a daily basis or anything like that. But yeah, here you go. So one thing I do notice about this record that makes it different from the last two Iron and Wine LPs is the sound. It's definitely a little more of a creative, musically kind of record. After those two acoustic records, it didn't really have a whole lot of ambition to them, but this album certainly does. It's got use of instruments like cellos, pianos, accordions, bass harmonicas, sitars, a lot of different instruments are occurring on this record. Oh, and then there's a lot of pedal steel on this album too. Not really there for a country vibe, more for it fits in with kind of the beauty of the music. And lyrically, it does talk a little more about, you may not realize it on initial listens, but this album actually has lyrics that reference a lot about questions of politics and stuff like that, especially in this time when Bush got reelected and there was a lot of outrage over that. And there's definitely some lyrics about what you'd expect from the older Iron and Wine LPs, lyrics about like, relationships and, lyrics dealing with, religion and stuff like that. I think that's definitely a very obvious thing on the opening track, Pagan Angel in a Borrowed Car. It's a beautiful track with some really nice piano on it and some really just, very gorgeous cello on here too. Which is, you can, in which if you listen to the song, you pretty much can recognize who's playing the cello on here. Joey Burns of the band Calexico. A brilliant cellist, and he provided such excellent work to this track. And then there's Whitetoothed Man, which, has, a really nice slide guitar on it, and this is the one song where the use of the sitar comes in. And the lyrics, do kind of, definitely do, like, tell a story. And it does kind of, deal with, kind of the, and it does kind of deal with kind of the political stuff a little bit. And just a really beautiful, song. Like, I really like that slide guitar riff on there. Pretty much, a trademark Iron and Wine riff right there is definitely, the slide guitar. And plus the infusion of the sitar, I think, pairs really well with it too. But one of my personal favorites on this album would have to be the song Love Song of the Buzzard. Like, some really nice lyrics on it. I really like the lyric, Lucy tells me jokingly to wipe her brow. I mean, see, only a genius like Sam Beam could come up with such a beautiful lyric like that. And then the slide guitar and the accordion solos that occur in the middle, really, like, just definitely one of the highlights of this album. Plus, I like how the song plays into the next track, Carousel, which is a little more stripped down to just like a guitar, piano, xylophone, a bright bass, and vocal. Vocal. There's definitely a lot of, metaphors in the lyrics for, like, today's, modern society on here, as well as some, like, some Leslie vocals that, kind of sound like something. The song definitely sounds like something the Beatles maybe would have done, because of, like, the Leslie effect on the vocals on here. And then that plays into the track, House by the Sea, which, has some very good percussion work on it. It's kind of psychedelic, so it's got like some electrified percussion on here, as well as, like, the use of a bass harmonica and as well as a backwards accordion, and stuff like that, as well as a guitar and some steel in there, possibly. But yeah, again, just a really nice song. And it's, it kind of does deal with a relationship with these two sisters who are obviously kind of putting you through something that just doesn't work for you. So obviously, it tells lyrics about, like, frustration and, like, burning a book they keep coming back to, or hearing them changing the sound of your name or stuff like that. Like, this is one song that definitely does show a lot about what Iron and Wine is about. Just, some really beautiful melodies, some very, gorgeous and sweet on the ears multi-tracked and vocals and just lyrics that definitely do sound like you know he definitely does get a lot of inspiration from like books and stuff like that, and it makes his lyrics sound very poetic. Very poetic. He's like our generation's Elliott Smith almost. Um, and then that plays into the song Innocent Bones. I like how a majority of the songs play into each other and make it like this one big, like 20-minute song or stuff like that. That's like 4 songs in one. So you go into the song Innocent Bones, which is definitely another one of my favorite songs on here. It has some of the better lyrics that I think occur on the album. It has lyrics that do kind of reference these people that, you know, you know, that, have churches to sell and stuff like that. So like these are people that, have a pretty, dark idea of religion. There's a lot of truth to this song. Like, for example, every tongue that gets bit always has another word to say, and there ain't a penthouse Christian that wants the pain of the scab, but they all want the scar. And plus, the lyrics on it are pretty dark. It tells the story of there's this one person who, like, buys a milk-eyed mule and then murders it with a blade that he borrowed for some witch. And then there's another person who, like, smokes weed and talks on the phone. So it's like a song that, deals with people who, don't quite, understand life or stuff like that. And, think to themselves that the burning man is the color of the end of day. And the cartoon king is a tattoo of a bleeding heart. That's another lyric that shows CMB just... I don't know if any other songwriter could try to duplicate those beautiful lyrics that CMB writes that sound as if they're inspired by some sort of very, dramatic novel or something like that. The song Wolves, Song of the Shepherd's Dog, once again goes for kind of the psychedelic kind of rock feel. But I really love the sound of this track. Like, I think the slide guitar and the stuff like that sounds good. But what really makes the song stand out is the experimental and weird electric guitar riffs that you're hearing on here. That, they make the guitar sound like a dog barking at the end. Love that weird solo at the end. That, they're obviously making the guitar sound like a dog barking, and just sounds really nice on there. It's something Dr. Dog have done before on the song Easy Beat, but Iron and Wine did it a little more differently. Did it a little, differently. The one on Dr. Dog's record sounded more like an actual dog, and on here it sounded more like, kind of some weird, maybe like, maybe like some sort of filter on the guitar or something like that. And, just, a really cool effect going on that track. And, these lyrics definitely reference some pretty dark stuff as well. Probably my personal favorite song on this album would have to be the song Resurrection Fern. Has some really nice steel work on it from Paul Nyhouse, another member of Calexico who plays on here. But yeah, it's really those lyrics that really do show it as definitely one of Iron and Wine's best songs. And the songs, and it, and some of the lyrics on here may remind some of the classic gem from Our Endless Numbered Days, a really beautiful song, Naked as We Came. Um, came. And another one of the highlights on this record is the song that follows, Boy with a Coin, which is like the lead single on here. There's a lyric in it that talks about God leaving the ground to circle the world. I like how that lyric can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. Would it, like, it could relate to maybe like, God was watching over us all on our daily lives when we're going through such hell in life, or maybe he left the ground to to see if maybe we're praying for something more, something like that. I like how that lyric could mean a lot of different things to people. Plus, that pedal steel riff that I hear on that song, just so just pure ecstasy to listen to. I mean, that's definitely one of the highlights of that album, is that one little riff that has a lot of like it sounds like the one with the right amount of reverb, because it definitely does sound like it's being played in maybe some sort of church or something like that. It has that kind of reverb going on. Then it plays into the song "The Devil Never Sleeps," and this one I'm sure probably left bad taste in some people's ears. It's the most rock thing that Iron and Wine has done. Pretty much, they had never done a rock type song before. So this one probably turned off some people. But me, I personally really like the song. As an open-minded music fan, and an open-minded fan of this artist too, I do really like the feel of this song. I think I like the loungy piano that's going on. Sounds like it's not like honky tonk, but it definitely does sound as if sounds like something maybe you could hear in a bar room or something like that. And then you have those, guitar riffs that, and then the guitar riffs, sound nice. I like that solo between the electric and the slide. And then it has, but then it also has, this weird instrument that sounds like maybe a trumpet with some sort of, sounds like a trumpet played through some sort of pedal or something like that. But whatever it is, it sounds cool. And then there's the next track. The next track on here is "Peace Beneath the City," and this is a good song. Don't get me wrong, but it's not the best song on here. I do like the lyrics on it, and the instrumentation on it sounds pretty nice. I do like that spooky musical saw that's on there, as well as there's that cello that sounds as if it's being played through maybe some sort of, weird guitar pedal, or like a wah-wah pedal or something like that. But, it's, doesn't have the kind of emotional, it doesn't really have as much of the emotion, doesn't really, hit you hard with, kind of the emotion as some of the other songs do. But it's still a good song. It's definitely, but it's still a good song. It's just doesn't really stick out the way the rest of the record does. Then you get to the closer, "Flightless Bird, American Mouth." This is a beautiful song. If you've never heard it, I order you, pause the video and hear it. Such a great song. It has lyrics that do kind of reflect on kind of childhood a little bit, and it's definitely a very kind of heartfelt song. Definitely a heart wrencher for sure if you listen to the lyrics, and musically it is just heaven. With the really nice. Of course, it's got the acoustic guitar and all, but then it's got this really beautiful infusion of piano, accordion, drums, and electric guitar, and the harmonies on it just soar on it. Making this definitely one of the best Iron and Wine songs, I think. Period, and, definitely pretty much. I don't know. This could be my favorite song on the album. Not really sure, but I do know that it is one song on here that I think really, really just, hit me with how, beautiful that one is, full that one is. So, overall, I think the album really does show Iron and Wine progressing as an artist, both musically and lyrically. But I think he does that in such a way that makes it kind of, whether you're, whether you're kind of, whether you're kind of traditionalist fan that doesn't really care for maybe his, his later albums, or if you're a really big fan of his and is really open-minded, well then I do recommend this album. It's definitely a very beautiful record. Paired with its just probably one of the best pieces of artwork I've seen on an album released in 2007. That's my review of The Shepherd's Dog. Great album. See you for episode 81.